Hello, listeners. This is the Last Signal Radio. If you're hearing me now, you are alive. And that alone is extraordinary, because the world above is no longer safe. The sky has broken. The ozone layer, the fragile shield that once protected all life from the sun's deadly ultraviolet radiation, is gone. Every ray of sunlight now burns with lethal intensity. Cities are abandoned during the day. Streets, parks, and neighborhoods are silent. Concrete and asphalt glow. Glass blazes in the sun. And the air itself feels dangerous, almost hostile. Within days, the consequences became terrifyingly real. Plants, the foundation of life, began to wither and die. Photosynthesis, the process that turns sunlight into the energy plants need, fails under the unfiltered radiation. Staple crops like wheat, rice, and soybeans began to collapse. Even the tallest, slow-growing trees, once thought invincible, began to blacken under the sun's relentless glare. Without plants, herbivores starve. Omnivores feed on what remains, then die themselves. Ecosystems unravel in real time, collapsing layer by layer. Humans are not spared. Skin burns within minutes. Lesions form. Blisters erupt. Infections spread faster than medicine can respond. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Millions, billions even, are affected. Skin cancers, cataracts, acute sunburn, and immune suppression are skyrocketing. The sun has become a weapon. Daylight is now a death sentence. Every exposed person risks unimaginable suffering. Communities fracture. Families lose members in hours. Survivors huddle, terrified of even a glimpse of light. Survival has forced humans to change fundamentally. We have become nocturnal. We move only at night. The streets, the parks, the empty skyscrapers, all belong to shadows now. Basements, subways, and improvised tunnels are lifelines. Every movement is calculated. Every moment outside cover is a gamble. Every step, every breath could be fatal. Food scarcity compounds the terror. Crops fail. Forests collapse. Oceans, too, are dying. Phytoplankton, the microscopic foundation of marine life, perish under ultraviolet exposure. Fish and shrimp larvae die in droves. Coastal communities scramble for protein sources. Hunger spreads alongside burns and infections, layering suffering upon suffering. Infections from UV-damaged skin have become a silent killer. Blisters fester. Necrosis spreads. Millions are gone. Millions more carry infections that will eventually take them. We avoid daylight not just to survive, but to prevent the slow agony of exposure. Every precaution, every covered arm or leg, is life itself. The natural world mirrors this collapse. Forests are skeletal. Grasslands are barren. Wildlife retreats underground or vanishes entirely. Species unable to repair UV damage die quickly. Ecosystems reassemble around the few resilient species, but life itself is fractured. Survival is not just a human struggle. It is planetary. And yet, despite the fear, the infection, the hunger, the constant threat of death, there is persistence. Humans endure. Night is a sanctuary. Shadows are allies. We move, scavenging what we can. We ration food, water, and every ounce of energy. We care for the sick when we can, and bury the dead silently, cautiously, to protect ourselves. Each safe step, each successful night, is defiance. Each moment of survival is a testament to resilience. The sun has become a predator. The sky that once gave life now takes it. Ozone is gone. Life on land and in the sea falters. Crops fail, forests burn invisibly, oceans hollow. Cities are graveyards during the day. And yet, as long as we endure in the darkness, as long as we move cautiously, there is survival. There is life, fragile and fleeting, but real. There is hope, small, quiet, and hidden in the shadows. The day is gone, and with it, the world we once knew. The sun burns above like a weapon, and daylight is no longer a gift. It is a sentence. Humanity has learned, painfully, that survival belongs to the night. The streets are silent during the day, a graveyard for anyone caught unprotected. The shadow of death lingers in every ray of light. We move only at night now. Every shadow is a pathway. Every corner, a temporary sanctuary. Streets, once vibrant with voices and traffic, are empty. Buildings loom like ghosts. Cars sit abandoned, windows blacked out. Neon signs flicker where power remains, but most are dark, silent. Moonlight is our only guide, dim and unreliable, yet precious. Every movement must be slow, deliberate, and cautious. One mistake, one glance upward, one exposure to the lethal ultraviolet. There is no turning back. Communities have learned to survive together, yet the trust that once bound neighbors is fragile. People whisper, trade cautiously, and share knowledge that could mean life or death. Rations of food, water, and supplies are distributed carefully, often only enough for hours. Survivors have learned to improvise, clothing layered thick, scarves over faces, goggles, gloves. Any skin exposed is a potential death sentence. People patch buildings with reflective materials to reduce UV intrusion. Nothing can be left to chance. Infections from sunburned and blistered skin are rampant. Millions are stricken. Hospitals and clinics collapsed long ago. Where there was care, now there is only triage. Who can be saved? Who cannot? The sick and infected are isolated in makeshift wards, often underground, shielded from the sun, while those able to move must continue scavenging to survive. Death comes silently in the day, but in the night, survival is a careful negotiation with the shadows. Food scarcity dominates every thought. Crops fail in open fields. Greenhouses collapse under faint leaks of sunlight. Forests, stripped of life, offer little more than scorched wood. Oceans, once abundant, are hollow at the surface. Phytoplankton die under relentless UV. Fish, shrimp, and other larvae cannot survive. Coastal populations struggle, relying on limited caches, on scavenged protein, on whatever can be found in darkness. Hunger stalks every night, yet humans endure. Night has become civilization itself. Communication travels in whispers, coded signals, flashlight flashes through windows. Maps of safe routes are drawn on paper, memorized, and passed from hand to hand. Families plan each night's movement with care. Entire communities operate on a schedule dictated not by clocks, but by darkness. Every step outside the shelter is carefully timed. Every sound, every movement is measured to avoid attracting attention, not just from other humans, but from the dangers of exposure. Mental strain is nearly unbearable. Children no longer laugh. Parents speak in hushed tones. People grieve silently for those lost during the day, for those who did not make it through the heat and the burns. Loneliness and fear are constant companions. Every night is a gamble. Every sunrise is a potential disaster. Yet in darkness, there is life. In darkness, there is hope, however fragile. The sun above has become more than a threat. It has reshaped humanity itself. Our schedules, our routines, our very biology is being forced to adjust. We sleep during the day, eat and move during the night. Eyes adapt to moonlight. Fingers learn the weight of rationed food. Feet memorize every shadowed path. Humans have become creatures of stealth and patience, enduring long hours in silence to reclaim the night. Even so, infection continues to claim lives. Burned and blistered skin is fertile ground for bacteria. Necrosis spreads quickly without proper treatment. The sick are isolated when possible, but many succumb before help arrives. Every survivor carries the memory of loss, the burden of watching friends and family fade under an unforgiving sun. The scars are physical, but the psychological wounds run deeper. And still, there is defiance. Each night that someone survives is a small victory. Each scavenged meal, each safe step, each shelter that holds is proof that humanity endures. Night has become our sanctuary, shadows our shield. The sun may burn above, but in the darkness, life persists. Survival is measured not in years or decades anymore. It is measured in nights, in hours, in careful breaths under the cover of shadows. The world above may be collapsing. Forests blacken. Oceans empty. Cities are graveyards by day. Yet as long as we move, whisper, and survive in the night, humanity persists. Each night is a testament to endurance. Each shadow is a lifeline. And while the sun takes everything above, we endure below, adapting, surviving, and defying its fury one careful step at a time. The night has become the only safe world we know. Daylight is lethal, and with it comes a horror that spreads faster than fear itself. Infection. The sun doesn't just burn, it breaks the skin, opens pathways for disease, and weakens bodies until survival is no longer certain. Those who once walked the streets freely now live in perpetual caution, their every exposed inch of skin a potential death sentence. Reports from cities like New York, Mumbai, Paris, and Tokyo paint the same grim picture. Millions of people carry burns and lesions that fester, some beyond healing. Hospitals collapsed long ago under the combined weight of sunburn, infection, and panic. Where medical care remains, it is makeshift, underground, shadowed, and desperate. Those who are sick or injured are isolated, not out of cruelty, but because proximity means exposure, and exposure means death. Survivors have had to adapt. Underground tunnels, abandoned subway systems, and basements have become lifelines. Shelters are patched with reflective sheets, tarps, even metal scraps to reduce UV exposure. Clothing has been repurposed. Scarves, gloves, goggles, anything that can cover the skin. Every step outside must be carefully calculated, every movement planned according to the moon's position and the faintest trace of night shadow. Time outside is rationed like water or food. Food is a constant challenge. Open farmland is dangerous. Crops fail under even a small leak of sunlight, and forests no longer provide reliable sustenance. Oceans, once abundant, are hollowed at the surface. Phytoplankton have collapsed, and fish and shrimp larvae perish before they can grow. Humans have adapted by scavenging, storing, and rationing what remains. Fishing at night is still risky. Exposure from moonlight, or even faint reflections off water, can be fatal. Every meal is a struggle, every calorie a prize. Yet it is not just the sun or infection that threatens survival. The psychological toll is profound. Survivors move in silence, whispering, signaling, passing warnings. Children no longer laugh. Adults speak in muted tones. Families grieve silently for those lost in daylight. The constant stress, fear, and isolation are as deadly as the ultraviolet itself. Sleep comes only when exhaustion overcomes terror. Dreams are haunted by blinding light, by burned bodies, by empty streets. Communities have become small, tight-knit units of survival. Trust is earned carefully. Knowledge of safe routes, reflective shelters, rationing techniques, and emergency signals is shared only with those deemed reliable. Every community is a microcosm of survival strategy. People learning to live in darkness, communicating only when necessary, and moving only when unavoidable. Night is civilization. Shadow is law. Darkness is safety. Infection spreads relentlessly. Burned and blistered skin is a gateway for bacteria, and with limited medical care, mortality is high. Those who survive carry scars, physical and mental, that mark them as living witnesses to catastrophe. Millions more are at risk simply by touching contaminated surfaces, sharing scarce water, or stepping too close to another human in the darkness. Every interaction carries a risk, and every night spent outside is a gamble with survival itself. Despite all this, humanity persists. Each night is a testament to endurance. Each successful scavenging mission, each rationed meal, each careful step through shadowed streets proves that survival is possible. Night has become a rhythm, a sanctuary, a measure of life itself. Humans are learning to adapt, moving silently, rationing resources, caring for the infected when possible, and avoiding exposure to the sun above. The scale of loss is staggering. Cities empty during the day are graveyards, streets littered with those who miscalculated, who could not cover themselves adequately, who succumbed too quickly to burns and infection. Forests burn invisibly, oceans are empty at the surface, and wildlife retreats or dies in vast numbers. Yet, beneath the darkness, life continues. Humanity clings to survival through ingenuity, adaptation, and sheer will. Every night that ends with another survivor is a small victory. Every shelter that holds, every rationed meal that sustains, every careful movement that avoids exposure is proof that humans endure. Night is not just a time. It is life itself. The sun is a predator, and the sky above is a battlefield. Survival depends on shadows, on strategy, on patience, on silence. And so we endure. Shadows are our allies. The night is our only sanctuary. We move, whisper, ration, hide, and survive. Each successful night brings hope that the next can be endured, that life can continue, however fragile, however uncertain. In the darkness, humanity perseveres. In the shadows, we endure. The night is no longer just darkness. It is a battlefield. Every shadow, every alley, every ruined building is a path to survival, or a trap waiting to claim another life. Daylight has become an assassin, and humans move like ghosts through the remnants of cities, forests, and coastlines, scavenging what little remains. Food, water, medicine, every resource is a prize fought over quietly, carefully, with cunning born of desperation. Cities like Sao Paulo, Cairo, London, and Beijing are skeletons of their former selves. Streets are empty, towers loom over dark roads, and abandoned vehicles sit as silent sentinels. Survivors have learned to navigate these ruins at night, memorizing the location of fallen supplies, hidden shelters, and potential threats. Moonlight guides them, but even its faint glow can betray a presence. Reflections of glass, metal, or puddles can be fatal. Every step is calculated. Every decision weighs life against risk. Food is the constant obsession. Crops in open fields are dead or mutated under the relentless ultraviolet bombardment. Greenhouses survive only where sunlight intrusion is fully blocked, rare and precious. Forests offer little more than charred wood and hollowed plants. Coastal communities scrape the edges of oceans for fish and shellfish, but the surface waters are a graveyard. Phytoplankton, the microscopic foundation of marine life, are gone. Fish larvae die before they grow. The oceans themselves seem to turn against us. Hunger stalks every survivor, gnawing silently while burns and infections claim others. Water is no longer a simple necessity. It is a strategic asset. Wells, reservoirs, and taps that once supplied millions are often contaminated or drained. Survivors collect condensation, scavenge from underground pipes, or ration stored water over days and nights. Every sip is precious. Every drop is a victory. Medicine is a memory of a past world. Bandages, antibiotics, antiseptics, they are now hoarded like gold. Infection is the silent killer in the darkness, claiming more lives than the sun itself. Blistered, burned, and infected skin spreads disease rapidly, and every interaction carries risk. Survivors have adapted by creating quarantine zones, makeshift wards, and isolation spaces deep underground. Those who cannot be saved are left in shadowed corners, honored quietly, so others may live. Ingenuity has become survival itself. Survivors fashion protective clothing from tarps, reflective sheets, and layered fabrics. Shelters are fortified to block even faint rays of sunlight. Reflective barriers, improvised airlocks, and UV-shielded tunnels allow movement in otherwise impossible areas. Knowledge of terrain, routes, and shelter networks is passed cautiously from group to group, whispered in shadows, memorized and practiced like a ritual. Those who know the paths through the dark are the lifeline of entire communities. Nighttime scavenging is a ritual of tension and terror. Each abandoned supermarket, pharmacy, or warehouse is both an opportunity and risk. Food, water, and medicine are found in tiny caches, often already claimed by others. Conflict is quiet, careful, sometimes deadly. Communities learn to move silently, signal one another, and avoid confrontation wherever possible. Stealth is more valuable than strength. Patience is survival. Psychological strain is relentless. Survivors live under constant fear, haunted by the daylight they cannot face, the infections they cannot always prevent, the hunger that gnaws in silence. Sleep is stolen in underground shelters, often in shifts, with one set of eyes on potential intruders or threats. Children are taught to move cautiously, to hide when sunlight creeps into a tunnel, to ration food and water meticulously. Adults bear the weight of fear for everyone they protect. The night is both savior and crucible. Yet despite the despair, life continues. Each successful scavenging mission is a triumph. Every rationed meal, every hidden water cache, every intact shelter is proof that survival is still possible. Communities endure by adapting, learning, and cooperating when possible. Knowledge of darkness, shadows, and shelter becomes wisdom, and wisdom becomes life itself. Above, the sun waits. It is unrelenting, patient, and lethal. It does not forgive mistakes. It does not relent. Its ultraviolet rays reach everywhere the human eye can see, burning, blistering, killing. The world above is a landscape of danger, and humans have been forced to redefine existence entirely around its threat. And yet, beneath the ruins, in the tunnels, basements, and shadowed streets, humans endure. Survival is no longer about comfort or progress. It is about moments, nights, and careful breaths. Every resource secured, every shelter maintained, every life preserved is a rebellion against the world above. The sun may dominate the surface, but in darkness, humanity survives. The night teaches patience, strategy, and endurance. It is a teacher of survival. Every night survived is proof that even in a world dominated by lethal sunlight, humans can adapt, endure, and persist. Hunger, infection, and fear remain constant companions, but the shadows offer life, and in life, hope. The sun has become an executioner, and its shadowed absence during the night is the only thing keeping humanity alive. But survival comes at a cost. It is not only hunger or scarcity that kills. It is the slow, insidious spread of infection, the silent predator that follows every burn, every blister, every exposed inch of skin. Millions are stricken. Millions more watch helplessly as friends, neighbors, and family succumb in the darkness. Cities like Los Angeles, Lagos, Shanghai, and Moscow are filled with survivors who are scarred and sick. Every face tells a story of pain. Hands are bandaged, arms wrapped, legs coated in makeshift dressings. Burned and ulcerated skin festers in places where antiseptics are rare or gone entirely. Infection does not wait for daylight. It spreads silently, claiming bodies that have already been weakened by stress, hunger, and exhaustion. Communities have learned to isolate the infected when possible, but space is limited. Makeshift wards are dug underground, in subway tunnels, basements, and any space that blocks sunlight. Supplies of bandages, antiseptics, and antibiotics are rationed like gold. Care is given sparingly, carefully, often to those most likely to survive. Those who cannot be helped are left behind, not out of cruelty, but because touching them risks exposure to others. Every decision carries a moral weight, and every night is a negotiation with death. The spread of infection is relentless. Blistered, burned skin is fertile ground for bacteria. Ulcers fester. Necrosis spreads. If not treated quickly, limbs are lost, and eventually life itself slips away. Survivors move quietly, rationing care, patching wounds with whatever they can find. Rags boiled in water, scraps of cloth, herbal poultices scavenged from remote forests. Every act of care is an act of courage, a defiance of the cruelty of the sun and the spread of disease. Mental strain is unbearable. Survivors live in constant fear of exposure to daylight, of the infection that may already be creeping through their own body or those around them. Anxiety is constant. Sleep is fitful, interrupted by the need to check on those sick in nearby shelters. Grief is endless. Families bury loved ones quietly, in darkness, in improvised graves, often leaving the bodies for fear of infection. Children no longer play. Laughter is almost extinct. The world has become one of whispers, shadows, and survival. Yet, even in darkness, humans adapt. Night has become civilization. Survival requires collaboration. Communities learn to work together, sharing knowledge of wounds, infection control, safe routes, and hidden caches of food and water. Caregivers become the most valuable members of groups, moving carefully from patient to patient, minimizing exposure. Healing, when it happens, is miraculous. It is the rare success that reminds survivors why they endure. The psychological toll is profound. Survivors carry the weight of lost friends and family, the guilt of those they could not save, the fear of what another sunrise may bring. Panic, anxiety, and despair are as deadly as infection. Communities teach patience, resilience, and caution. Rituals develop to maintain sanity, checking shelters, cleaning wounds, rationing meals, and preparing for the next night's movement. Every act, no matter how small, becomes a ceremony of survival. Hunger compounds the suffering. Food is rare. Crops are dead or poisoned by ultraviolet radiation. Forests provide almost nothing. Oceans are empty near the surface. Fish, shrimp, and other creatures perish before reaching maturity. Survivors rely on scavenged stores, small animal kills, and what few edible plants remain shielded from the sun. Every bite is rationed, measured, savored. Hunger is a constant companion, gnawing silently while infection spreads around it. Still, life persists. Every night that a community survives is a triumph. Every healed wound, every rationed meal, every secret shelter that remains intact is evidence of resilience. Humans endure through ingenuity, cooperation, and determination. Night has become a teacher. Patience, vigilance, caution, endurance. Each hour survived in the shadows is proof that humanity is not yet defeated. The sun waits, relentless, patient, merciless. It has stripped away comfort, light, and safety. It burns, it kills, it waits for mistakes. Above ground, the world is a graveyard. Below, in tunnels, basements, and shadowed streets, humanity persists. Survivors whisper in the dark, patch wounds, share knowledge, and ration life carefully. Each night survived is a victory against exposure, infection, and despair. And so we endure. Shadows are our refuge. Darkness our ally. Survival is measured not in years or decades anymore. It is measured in nights, in careful breaths, in wounds tended and food rationed. Infection, hunger, and fear remain constant companions, but humanity persists. Every scar is a story. Every shadowed night is proof that life continues, fragile yet defiant, in a world where the sun itself has become an enemy. The world above is unrecognizable. Streets once teeming with life are now graveyards. Cities like Tokyo, New York, Cairo, and Sao Paulo have been abandoned during the day, their towers and highways left to bake under the lethal ultraviolet sun. Above, even the wind is treacherous. The air itself is a carrier of pain and infection. Yet below, life continues. Humans have learned to live beneath the sun, creating cities of shadow, networks of tunnels, and sanctuaries of darkness. Communities have become complex, interdependent systems. Those who survive rely on one another for knowledge, food, shelter, and protection. Leadership is earned, not assumed. Individuals who know the safest routes, who understand infection control, or who can scavenge resources effectively, are revered. Rules are simple, but absolute. Protect the group, avoid exposure, ration resources, and never risk sunlight unnecessarily. Every misstep costs lives. Every lapse has consequences. Tunnels, basements, abandoned subways, and underground parking structures are the new streets. Human ingenuity turns forgotten infrastructure into lifelines. Ventilation shafts are blocked or filtered to prevent UV leakage. Reflective surfaces and improvised barriers protect entire communities from the sun's deadly glare. Shelters are organized into wards, sleeping quarters, medical zones, storage areas, and communication hubs. Every inch is mapped, guarded, and optimized for survival. Resource management has become an art of life and death. Food is rationed with precision. Water is collected from hidden cisterns, rainwater carefully filtered, and even condensation is harvested from pipes. Medicine is hoarded and distributed only to those who can survive the longest. Bandages, antiseptics, and antibiotics are treasures. Infection is the constant threat, and controlling its spread is the difference between a community's survival and its collapse. Social dynamics are shaped by necessity. Trust is earned cautiously. Outsiders are treated with suspicion until proven harmless. Alliances are formed not by friendship, but by survival strategy. Information about safe routes, abandoned caches, or hidden shelters is currency. Knowledge is power. Leadership is practical. the most experienced, the most careful, and the most adaptive guide others through the perilous darkness. Children are taught early the dangers of the sun. Play is forbidden during the day. Lessons are given in whispers, using shadows as guides. They learn to move silently, ration carefully, and respect the limits of their environment. In some communities, teenagers serve as scouts, moving through abandoned neighborhoods at night to gather supplies or map safe paths. Risk is constant, but the young learn quickly that failure means death. The psychological toll is immense. Survivors live with constant fear, grief, and stress. They witness the deaths of friends and family in silence. Depression, anxiety, and trauma are pervasive, but the need to survive forces focus. Rituals develop. Nightly checks of shelters, communal cleaning of wounds, rationing meetings, and mapping exercises become vital for both survival and mental stability. Every task is imbued with meaning because meaning itself is scarce. Conflict is unavoidable. Scarce resources and high stress sometimes lead to confrontation. Communities must defend caches of food, water, or medicine from desperate strangers. Violence is quiet, but deadly. Negotiation, observation, and intelligence often replace brute force. Survival favors the cautious, the strategic, and the patient. Even so, there is resilience. Underground communities adapt, cooperate, and endure. Survivors innovate continuously. Scavenged technology repurposed to monitor tunnels. Simple chemical mixtures used to sterilize wounds. Improvised signals to warn of danger or safe passage. Humans in darkness have become clever, resourceful, and unyielding. Each day, or rather each night, that a community survives is proof of human endurance. The sun above remains merciless, unchanging, patient. Its ultraviolet radiation destroys what it touches. Its glare, its heat, its infection-spreading power dominates the surface. Yet below, humans endure in shadowed networks, a subterranean civilization defined by strategy, caution, and cooperation. Darkness is no longer absent. It is the framework for life itself. And so, we continue. Infections rage, hunger gnaws, and fear lingers, but communities endure. Tunnels and basements are alive with whispers, footsteps, and the careful coordination of survival. Every mapped route, every rationed meal, every hidden water cache, every person kept alive is a triumph. Life persists, fragile yet defiant, beneath the sun's relentless assault. The world above is a battlefield of light and death. Below, life adapts. Humans endure, innovate, and survive. Not for comfort, not for growth, but simply for the next night, the next shadow, the next breath of air, untainted by ultraviolet fury. Survival is no longer passive. It is a calculated art, perfected in darkness. The sun above is no longer a source of life. It is a force of death. Every day, billions risk exposure, and yet below, in the shadows, humanity persists. Survivors have learned to measure life not in hours or days, but in nights. Each night survived is a triumph. Each safe shelter is a fortress. And each breath of untainted air is proof that life can endure, however fragile, under the sun's merciless gaze. Long-term adaptation has become a necessity, not a choice. Communities have evolved into complex underground networks, spanning basements, subway tunnels, abandoned parking structures, and even hidden industrial bunkers. Mapping these networks is essential. Paths are memorized. Routes are practiced in silence. Every corridor is checked for sunlight leaks, every vent blocked or filtered. Movement is always deliberate. Mistakes are fatal. Resource management has transformed into a science. Food is rationed to the last crumb. Water is harvested from hidden wells, collected condensation, and filtered scavenged sources. Medicine is measured and allocated strategically. Bandages, antiseptics, and antibiotics are precious commodities, often shared only with those most likely to survive. Every day, every night, every resource is accounted for. Wastage is death. Survivors have adapted physically as well. Eyes have grown accustomed to dim light. Pupils dilate to catch even the faintest moonlight. Skin is shielded with layers of cloth, plastic, or metal. Movement is slow, deliberate, and careful. The body itself learns caution. Children grow up knowing nothing of daylight, only shadows. They learn to move silently, ration water, manage food, and respect the fragility of life. Every lesson is survival. Every habit is endurance. Communities function like organisms. Each person has a role: scavenger, guard, medic, scout, or builder. Leadership is practical and earned, not inherited. Knowledge of safe routes, resource caches, and risk assessment is currency. Those who know the dangers of the sun are valued above all. Every night, information is shared carefully, whispered or signaled through gestures. Communication must be precise. A single mistake could expose the entire group. The threat of infection remains constant. Ultraviolet damaged skin is a fertile ground for disease. Blisters fester, necrosis spreads, and without proper care, death is swift. Communities have devised quarantine zones and medical areas deep underground. Makeshift surgeries, poultices, and improvised sterilization methods keep some alive. But the sick and dying are never far away. Every life saved is a miracle. Every failure, a lesson etched into memory. Psychological strain is relentless. Humans endure grief, fear, and isolation. Daylight is a constant threat, and memories of those lost in its blaze haunt survivors nightly. Yet, the necessity of survival forces focus. Rituals develop. Nightly mapping of shelters, inspections of food and water, rotating watches to monitor tunnels and exits. These routines are survival tools as much as they are anchors for the mind. They are proof that even in a world defined by danger, humans can impose order on chaos. Food scarcity drives ingenuity. Crop cultivation has moved underground wherever possible, using artificial light sources shielded from sunlight leakage. Hydroponic systems and improvised grow beds allow small communities to produce the bare minimum needed to survive. Scavenging remains essential. Every abandoned store, warehouse, or farm is a potential lifeline. Planning for weeks ahead is critical. Every ration, every hidden supply, every drop of water is a strategy against starvation. Even in darkness, hope persists. Communities adapt, learn, and endure. Nights are filled with whispered instructions, cautious movements, and careful work to maintain shelters, tend wounds, and secure resources. Life in shadows is not comfortable. It is painstaking, meticulous, and terrifying. But it is life. Each night survived strengthens the knowledge, resilience, and cohesion of the community. Survival becomes both art and science. Above, the sun waits. Its rays are merciless, indifferent, and lethal. It destroys everything in its reach. Yet below, humans endure, measure, and plan. Shadows are their shield. Darkness is their strategy. Every night survived is proof of adaptation, perseverance, and ingenuity. The world above may be uninhabitable, but in tunnels, basements, and hidden chambers, humanity continues. The night is no longer merely a division of time. It is existence itself. Every careful step, every rationed meal, every protected breath, every hidden wound is life persevering against extinction. Communities underground become entire civilizations, shaped entirely by survival, by caution, by knowledge, and by the unwavering determination to endure. The sun dominates the surface. Darkness dominates life. Survival is no longer optional. It is everything. And humanity, though battered, scarred, and haunted, continues. Each night, each shadowed corridor, each rationed meal, each healed wound is proof that life, even under the threat of annihilation, persists. The world above is uninhabitable. The sun has burned every open street, every park, every rooftop, every coastline. It doesn't matter whether it is summer or winter. The ultraviolet blaze kills indiscriminately. Exposure is instantaneous agony. Skin burns, blisters erupt, infection follows, and death is never far behind. The surface is a no man's land, a graveyard for those who miscalculate, who take one step too far, who cannot protect themselves. Yet life below has found a fragile rhythm. Underground communities, subway tunnels, basements, abandoned factories, bunkers have become entire civilizations. Survivors have learned to navigate darkness, ration resources, treat infection, and defend their sanctuaries. But even these isolated pockets are not entirely safe. Food, water, and medicine are scarce. Isolation can be deadly. Connection becomes a lifeline. Communication between communities is tenuous, precarious, and dangerous. Messages are passed via secure routes, signaled with reflective markers, or whispered in hidden corridors. Scouts move carefully across ruined streets at night, memorizing paths and sharing intelligence about resource caches, safe passages, and potential hazards. A single mistake, one misstep in the moonlight, one reflection off a shattered window, can expose a scout to lethal sunlight. Every journey is a gamble with life itself. The stakes of connection are enormous. Communities that cooperate share knowledge, resources, and medical care. Communities that remain isolated risk starvation, infection, and collapse. In cities like New York, Mexico City, Mumbai, and Cairo, underground networks have formed alliances, coordinating scavenging operations and emergency responses. When communication fails, entire groups are left vulnerable. Every successful message, every safe relay of supplies is a victory. Scouts and messengers are the most valued members of these societies. They move silently, sometimes for miles, through deserted streets, across rooftops, and along alleys, timing their movements with shadows and moonlight. The sun may be blocked by clouds or buildings, but its ultraviolet reach is relentless. Every surface, every reflection, every exposed patch of skin is a threat. Scouts carry rations, medicines, maps, and intelligence, their survival skills honed to perfection. Each night's journey is a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and endurance. Even underground, danger never truly disappears. Ventilation shafts, cracks in ceilings, and small openings allow sunlight to penetrate. Water sources can be contaminated. Hidden infections spread quietly. Psychological stress lingers. Survivors move constantly between fear, hope, grief, and determination. Children grow up learning the language of shadows. Adults memorize the rhythm of danger, and communities thrive by adapting to every new risk. Human connection, even fragile and clandestine, has become vital. Sharing knowledge about hidden food caches, safe routes, or medical supplies can mean life or death. Communities trade, negotiate, and sometimes clash over scarce resources. Alliances are built slowly, cautiously, because a single misjudgment could expose an entire group to disaster. Every handshake, every whispered instruction, every shared ration carries weight beyond imagination. Trust is precious, fragile, and earned through repeated survival. Stories of betrayal, of guides abandoning travelers, of hoarded medicine, serve as warnings. But when trust is earned, it becomes the backbone of survival. Shared effort, collective vigilance, and careful coordination enable humans to endure in a world where the sun is a relentless predator. Above, the sun dominates, indifferent, merciless, and lethal. Every reflection, every crack, every small patch of exposure can destroy life in moments. Below, humans endure, cooperate, and communicate, their whispered messages and secret routes forming the lifeblood of underground survival. Connections between communities are tenuous threads stretched across miles of abandoned streets, broken cities, and irradiated landscapes. But they are threads of life, fragile yet essential. The night is a sanctuary, but even in darkness, vigilance never stops. Every message relayed, every scout who returns safely, every alliance maintained is proof of ingenuity and endurance. Humanity survives not because the sun allows it, but because we adapt, learn, and connect, even when every step carries risk. Shadows become corridors of life. Whispers become strategy. Night is survival itself. Each safe journey between communities is a lifeline. Each shared resource, each warning, each coordinated effort is a reminder that even in a world dominated by lethal sunlight, humans are capable of resilience, adaptation, and hope. The sun may destroy everything above, but below, in the tunnels, basements, and abandoned subways, life persists, fragile yet defiant. And so we endure. Shadows are our pathways. Whispers are our lifelines. Every successful communication, every safe journey, every coordinated survival effort is a testament to the persistence of humanity in the face of annihilation. The world above may be burned, infected, and barren. But below, the living organize, adapt, and endure, one night at a time. The ozone layer, the thin, delicate shield that once absorbed the sun's ultraviolet radiation, collapsed. Not weakened, not thinned, collapsed. Within hours, UVB and UVC radiation struck the surface of the Earth with levels we have never seen in human history. Sunlight became a weapon, a death sentence, a burning blade across the skin of the world. I remember the last sunrise before everything changed. People were outside like any other morning. Cars were honking. Kids were going to school. Shops were opening. No one knew that the moment the sunlight touched their skin, it was already burning them at the cellular level. Within minutes, emergency rooms filled with people suffering severe sunburn, blistering rashes, eye injuries, and violent nausea. UVC, something humans were never supposed to be exposed to, was hitting the Earth directly. The radiation tore through DNA, suppressed immune systems, triggered infections, and accelerated cancers so quickly that doctors had no words for what they were seeing. Millions suffered, then millions more, and now billions are infected, scarred, or gone. Humanity learned fast. We had to. People abandoned the day. Entire nations shifted to a night-based existence. Streets that once glowed with life at sunrise now sit empty, cracked and silent. Cities like Tokyo, Paris, Sao Paulo, Lagos, Karachi, once vibrant with daylight, are now ghostly ruins under the burning blue sky. No one walks outside unless the sun is dead below the horizon. No one risks exposure unless it's absolutely necessary. The world became nocturnal. We live in bunkers, basements, underground garages, subway tunnels, anything shielded by layers of concrete and steel. And even then, sunlight finds its way through cracks, vents, and broken windows. We've seen people collapse just from a stray reflection bouncing off shattered glass. Hospitals, the few that are still operating, are filled with cases of melanoma, cataracts, immune failure, and massive skin lesions. Children who once played outside now haven't seen real daylight in months. When they ask what the sun felt like, no one knows how to answer without crying. The food situation is even worse. Without the ozone layer, ultraviolet radiation tore into the plant world like a blade. Crops withered, leaves burned, photosynthesis failed. Wheat, rice, soy, entire global food staples declined catastrophically. Even in greenhouses, the radiation finds ways in unless everything is triple layered and shielded. Farmers tried UV-resistant crops, but nature wasn't designed for this level of unfiltered solar death. The plants died anyway. Marine life suffered too. Phytoplankton, the microscopic plants at the base of the entire ocean food chain, are extremely UV sensitive. Their populations crashed. Fish populations followed. Fisheries collapsed. Coastal communities starved. Everything, the economy, the food chain, our health, fell apart like dominoes. We've been through disasters before: war, earthquakes, drought, pandemics, always believing that life could restore itself. But this is different. This isn't a temporary wound. It's a collapse of a planetary system. The atmosphere itself no longer protects us. And with the stratosphere cooling from the sudden loss of ozone absorption, global weather patterns snapped in half. Jet streams shifted. Temperatures swung wildly. The climate spiraled into chaos faster than any model could predict. Some scientists warned us this could happen. Most of the world didn't listen. But there's something else I need to talk about. Something important. Something that keeps me going when everything else feels lost. The ozone layer had collapsed before, locally over Antarctica. Back then, UV spikes caused measurable damage, reduced phytoplankton, plant mutations, skin cancer increases. And when nations worked together, when we acted, when we stopped producing the chemicals destroying it, the ozone hole began to heal. That's proof. Proof that atmospheric damage can be reversed. Proof that nature responds when humans care enough to change. The problem now is scale. This isn't a hole. It's total destruction. The repair will take decades, maybe longer, if we can even survive long enough to witness it. But some people believe we can. Some scientists think atmospheric recovery is possible if we reduce the triggers, if we shield the remaining biosphere, if we develop artificial barriers to UV radiation, and if underground society can sustain enough agriculture to feed the survivors. Humanity has always adapted. Even now, in the dark, we adapt. We are learning how to grow food using artificial lighting, how to recycle water in underground reservoirs, how to treat radiation injuries with improvised medicine, how to chart safe nighttime routes between communities, how to rebuild communication networks, how to keep the youngest among us hopeful when they've never felt the warmth of the sun without fear. I hear stories from survivors in London who transformed parts of the tube into farms, from people in New York using the deepest subway lines as makeshift clinics, from a group in Istanbul who built mirrored shields to redirect sunlight away from entrances, from a community in Johannesburg using solar panels under UV filters to power entire neighborhoods at night. Every message I receive, every voice that reaches back through this static, tells me the same thing. We are still here. We are still fighting. We are still surviving in the darkness together. Yes, we lost the sky. Yes, the world we loved burned under the cruelty of a sun we can no longer touch. But people are adapting, learning, helping each other, reaching out through tunnels, radios, and hidden routes, whispering plans when the daylight tries to silence them. As long as one voice broadcasts, as long as one signal survives, we are not gone. We are not defeated. We are not done. So, to whoever is listening right now, whether you're in a bunker beneath Los Angeles, a tunnel in Delhi, a basement in Berlin, or a shelter in Sydney, remember this. The sky may be broken, but we are not. Stay alive. Stay underground. Stay moving at night. This is the Last Signal Radio. Signing off for now.